Orlando, Central Florida. Hey, you tuned in to none other than the Monica May's point of view on Star 94.5. But see, something's a little different here. You don't have Miss Monica May. She was just so gracious enough to let three bald head guys sit up in the studio this morning. And you have none other than.
Wait, I'm not bald, bro. I'm just.
Is it voluntary? Or you fighting?
You
fighting?
I'm follically challenged. I'm not bald.
Okay, I gave up. I surrendered. But my name is Rod Love. Next to me, I have the General Attorney Greg Jackson. And you know what? We got a treat for you. You're going to be listening to. And Greg, I'm not. You know how we do this thing, man. Yep. You do the introductions, man. But I want you to do your thing, man, about what Let's Talk Nation.
Huh? What?
Let's Talk Nation, man. Get that introduction. Come on, man.
So you want me to talk about Let's Talk Nation?
No, just get that introduction.
The Let's Talk Nation introduction.
That Let's Talk Nation,
this
man.
morning.
This morning.
6 o'clock in the morning.
6 o'clock in the morning. Wake them up, man.
You think they're ready to handle it?
Praise. Don't they call that praise? Hey, but you know what, Greg?
This is the praise and worship portion of Let's Talk Nation on the Monica May's point of view. What we do is we always bring in our guests, and I always like to say, coming up on this microphone is someone that you may know, someone that we love. He is a fantastic representative for the Central Florida community. This is none other than our friend, our brother, our compatriot, a man who fights for the community, but none other than Representative Bruce Antone. Brother Antone, how you doing this morning?
Hey, good morning, man. Thank you for having me here, man. Y'all are funny. Good morning. Thank you.
But man, welcome to Monica May's point of view, boy. Nobody does it like Miss Monica May. And so that's what we're going to do today. For those of you who are listening, y'all know the way Monica does it. It ain't tame. So we're going to jump into another thing. Hey, great. But you know what?
What's that?
Just give him where respect is due.
Yeah.
Man, we got to give a shout out, man, and more than a shout out. As time goes on, I see these youngins talk about some of those old ways of doing things or just out of fashion. But, man, it ain't going to never be out of fashion to say thank you. And, we like to thank Mr. Elroy Smith for just affording us this opportunity. But you know what else? For those of you who are listening to this, the folk that are making us sound good, because we don't normally sound good. They're doing all kind of reverberations and all.
You're going to make Doc Polite mad now.
Oh, that's okay. Doc, we're not trying to make you mad.
Yeah, we got to deal with Doc all throughout the week. Now, I can't do that.
Greg, I did notice how he changed the camera off me when I said that. You notice that? But come on now. We over at Cox Radio.
Listen, man, but absolutely. But listen, this is the Justice League, Brother Love. That's what I like to call it. So you got Brother Elroy that is at the top of the Justice League. You got Miss Monica May, because I'm telling you, man, Monica May has to be a superhero. Because in order to get up and be here at 6 o'clock in the morning to do this show.
What you say?
Man, there's some things that happen at 6 and 5 o'clock in the morning that normally don't happen, brother. There's some fantastic things that happen at 5 o'clock in the morning that normally don't happen. You know what happened tonight?
What happened, Greg?
The lights are green.
And you can ride on through.
Where you're going in a hurry, brother love. So that's why this Justice League team here this morning has to be commended, because they make the lights turn green when they're not supposed to.
Hey, man, boy, I tell you telling all kind of secrets, man. But some of the secrets you're not telling is this too. The way that the audience in Central Florida, and my 16-year-old had to remind me last night. She said, "Daddy, while y'all being broadcast on Star's Tower," she said, "y'all just not Central Florida." Greg, go ahead and tell them about how many people listening to this thing, man.
We touch in Metro Orlando. We touch in Orange County, Osceola County, Volusia, Seminole, Brevard, Sumter County. Sumter County got radio stations.
Got radio.
That's a whole nother story. And Lake County.
Now, they send out doves, man. They send out doves. And that's what you call a delayed broadcast.
That's right. But listen, as a part of this again, Brother Love, because we got off track for a minute. We have Brother Marvin, who's a part of this Justice League. We got Sister Nisi, who's a part of this Justice League. And we even got Anna, who's back there backing us up too, Brother Love. As a part of this Justice League team that is led by Elroy and none other than the superstar Miss
Monica May. Absolutely, man. And boy, hey, Greg, the same team. Mr. Nice, Mr. Marvin, when we were here, and Monica told me, do not be remiss to make sure that the audience know that the dynamic duo will be sitting in from time to time for it. She said, y'all go in there, y'all know my tempo, and her tempo is go get it.
Let's go get it. But listen, we talked about them, but the dynamic duo, the leaders of Let's Talk Nation, you got the Prime Minister, Brother Love, who's sitting to my right, and then I am, as I always say, none other than the General Greg Jackson, and we are honored, privileged, and have so much pleasure in sitting in front of what's his name? Rush Limbaugh. God rest his soul. He sat before the golden microphones Here at Cox Radio, Brother Love, at the Monica Mays Point of View, we're sitting in front of the platinum microphone, Brother Love. We are so pleased to be here in front of these platinum microphones to bring the show today, and we have a fantastic guest that's here with us, Brother Antone.
Man,
you know how.
Welcome, man. We're gonna get past these platinums in a little bit because that means we need to talk to Mr. Elroy Smith at some time or another because they just keep stepping it up. But hey, Rep, man, thank you for getting up this morning, man, and joining us. But you know how Monica does it with her point of view. Man, we want to talk about some issues that are going to be germane to the people that you serve. So you're in, and here's something that I didn't realize. I guess because we do it often, we just take it for granted.
Right.
The official session doesn't start till March.
Right. First Tuesday of March.
First Tuesday of March. But explain to people what's taking place in the organizational session now and let people know how long that takes place.
Okay. Well, organizational starts like the third Tuesday in November. And that's just the official swearing in of the new leadership of the House and the Senate chambers. Then we're all assigned to a number of committees. I'm on 5 committees, infrastructure, tourism, transportation, appropriations committee, healthcare appropriations, some cybersecurity stuff, some agricultural stuff, some other committees. But we're meeting every week in Tallahassee. We started meeting back in December. And we're meeting every week until the first week in March, and then we'll go straight for 60 days until the first weekend in May.
Okay.
But a lot of stuff going on, a lot of debate, a lot of discussion, talking about the budget. We're doing a lot of work.
Well, we'll tell you what. Let people know. No, you did. Mm-hmm. Let people know first and foremost, District 41, what it encompasses. But before you do that, hey, you're listening to Monica May's Point of View. You have the General Attorney Greg Jackson with you. My name is Rod Love, and we have a special guest in the studio with us, and that's none other than Representative Bruce Antone. Hey, if you want to chime in, please call the station. That number is 844-945-2945. So, Rep, let everybody know what does your district encompass, and I look forward to some of those calls because they need to know how they can assist you in Tallahassee, but also you need to know what assistance they need.
Okay, so real quick, my district on the northernmost boundary is Highway 50, so Colonial Drive. On the eastern boundary is Orange Blossom Trail, basically all the way down to the B-line. And then we go across the B-line, come up Kirkland Road, we wrap around Universal Studios, and we go up the Turnpike all the way out to the Health Central Walmart in Ocoee. Then we come on back down Highway 50. So I've got about 180 constituents. And the way you determine how many constituents we have, we divide the population of Florida by 120. And so every representative has 180,000 constituents. There's 40 senators. You divide the population of Florida by 40, and you end up every state senator has about 550,000 constituents in that district. A lot of work, a lot of phone calls, a lot of folks calling me, my office every day needing assistance with some of everything.
You know, but Rep. Antone, this is the one thing that amazes me. This is not your first rodeo,
right?
In House Representatives, and you've been around in the community for a lot of years, serving in different capacities. What is different from and I know that you're early in your term, but what's different about this term from the previous term?
The difference this time, man, in just the 2 years I've been gone, probably 65% of the people in the legislature are new. Mm-hmm. So, man, I'm having to form relationships, build relationships with about 80 new people, right?
When you say new, and this is the guru right here, let people know because your district has changed from what it was before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my district changed. My district used to go from Evans High School down to the B-line, right? Now it stops at Highway 50. I mean, it begins at Highway 50. But it's new, the mentality, the political mentality in Tallahassee is a whole lot different in 2 years. It is more partisan. There's going to be some really extremely partisan issues, this anti-woke stuff. There's going to be a lot of red meat stuff. We've got this advanced placement courses on African-American studies. It's a really interesting.
And you're absolutely correct. Hey, Greg Jackson, man, here's one of those things, man, that we need to do. And that is, let's talk, we go in so that we can probe a little harder. And Rep, when you talk about how tough it's going to be, one of the things, man, that I got to give you credit for is you know how and understand how to navigate. The Florida legislature is minority Democratic in the House and in the Senate.
Right.
And tell our audience, because you just basically gave that that signal. It's going to be tough. How do you get your constituents what they need when you know you got to work across the aisle?
All right. And so let me say this. In the Florida House of Representatives, when I left, it was 47 Democrats, 73 Republicans. Now it's 85 Republicans and 35 Democrats, right? So, and I'm just being serious. The Republicans really don't even need us there to pass any legislation, right? So at this point in time, it all comes down to relationships. And that's what I focus on, is working with my Republican colleagues and my Democratic colleagues. You know, we got to play nice. You know, I got to get to know them. And so when I need to ask for help, when I need to ask for resources for my district, it's based on those relationships that I have with them. Right?
You just made me realize something. Hey, Mr. Niece, Mr. Marvin, man, I just realized I'm the minority sitting in between these two jokers. hey, to my left, I got a blue dog Democrat, and to my right, I got a Democratic House representative.
So what you need to realize that we don't want no trouble up here.
Hey, it's gonna be some.
Don't start no more be none.
Hey, and you know what? I think there's some friends up in the Capitol that are making legislation so that Cox Radio don't discriminate against me. But I feel good sitting up in here. I'm a minority, but I'm gonna bring it back to you. But I'm sorry,
Representative. But I'm here because of our relationship, right?
That's his relationship.
So we can work together,
right,
and do stuff that's gonna better the community. So
you hear how he's talking. You hear how he's talking.
But listen, brother, we talked about the areas that we're reaching right now, and Rep. Antone, you're gonna appreciate this. It appears that we're actually reaching out to some folks in LA this morning.
Wow.
A good friend of yours and mine from back in the day, Ms. Tessa Figueroa, is listening from
good morning
right now. So while I'm sitting up here complaining about 6 a.m., she's sitting up there with 3 a.m. So I don't know what I'm talking about.
Wow. Good morning, Ms. Figueroa.
Hey, that's a bad sister too, by the way.
Yes.
That's a bad sister.
But Rep. Antone, you know, some of the issues that are taking place, out of all of the issues that are taking place right now, what are some of the things that you are highlighting on, or that you're looking to really push through and get done?
All right. So the biggest issue, and I'm not sure how I'm going to play in this right now, it's going to be this property insurance thing, right?
Oh, yeah.
So property insurance is probably the biggest issue in Florida. The system's been screwed up over the years. Folks been suing, getting their roofs replaced, getting leaks replaced. It's caused exorbitant claims. But that is something we have to fix, because we're at the point where folks in my district, let's just say middle income folks, less affluent folks, cannot afford insurance now, right? So folks are paying $5,000, $6,000, $8,000 a year for insurance, right? And in some cases, man, that's almost as much as their mortgage, right? And so insurance companies are leaving the state, and as insurance companies leave the state, then premiums go up. So we've got to find a way to reduce the premiums, and then we got to find a way to keep the insurance companies from dropping policies on. So that's the first thing. Affordable housing is going to be the second issue, right? And so every year, the legislature sweeps money from what they call the Sadowski Housing Trust Fund, and they use it for other purposes. But we've got to build more affordable housing here in Florida. When I say more affordable housing, whether it's apartments, whether it's single-family homes, whether it's multi-family dwellings. My daughter lives in Pinellas Park. She pays $2,000 a month for a one-bedroom apartment. That's all she could afford, right? And that's all that we could find.
Well, I'm going to slow walk this thing a little bit, and I'm going to continue to kind of have some people ride underneath the bus with me, and Denise and Marvin, and I'm going to have to throw Mr. Elroy in this with me. But, hey, man, y'all just had a special session, and you sitting up here talking about going back into the regular legislative session to fix something that y'all had a special session on. And you know I love you. I ain't jumping on you, but I'm coming at you.
Right.
So what happened during the special session? Was anything? I mean, just break it down to us. What was fixed?
During the special session, they were putting some measures in place to shore up the insurance market so that insurance companies would not leave.
Okay, gotcha.
So this problem, in essence, really started with Hurricane Andrew way back in 1991, 92, and they created something called Citizens Insurance, right? And so through Citizens Insurance, then the people that lived on the ocean could get some cheap insurance, right? And so, man, they started putting them in there, and so everybody could get cheap insurance through Citizens Insurance. But there's some provision in the law that created Citizens Insurance that spreads the insurance damage across every property owner in the state of Florida, basically, right? So if a storm comes, the insurance companies can't pay for it. If citizens can't pay for it, then we're all assessed on our property insurance claim, and then they can even raise your automobile insurance to help generate some additional. So this is a really, really serious problem, right? And so now I know from a Black Caucus perspective, we've really got to dig in, roll our sleeves up, and make sure that we're looking out for the average homeowner, the average person that lives in our Black district. So that's going to be a focus. One of the bigger issues this year too is going to be universal vouchers. All right. So if this passes, every parent that has a school-age child can get their $7,500 and take their $7,500 wherever they want to take it, right? And so if you go to Bishop Moore or First Academy, you can get your $7,500 and then add that on to whatever the additional tuition is, right? And you keep on trucking. Now, the problem is there's going to be some accountability.
Right.
Because they're going to kind of set this up as kind of like savings account, right? So folk can get their money, they can keep it, they can put it on a college savings fund. They might even be able to go spend it for other things, right? So that's going to be another issue. For me, my focus this year, and people in my district may not say it's important to them, but I'm trying to create something called the Florida Medical School Fellowship. Black doctors are only about 6% of the total number of doctors in the state of Florida. Hispanic doctors are only about 10%. We need more Black doctors. We need more Hispanic doctors. It costs at least $250,000 in tuition to go to medical school, right? Then you probably got another $100,000 worth of living expenses. So we've got to make it affordable. We got to find a way to help more Black students and more Hispanic students go to medical school here in the state of Florida. So with all of this anti-woke stuff, all this anti-critical race theory stuff, I'm trying to get $30 million to build what I call the Florida Museum of Black History. And so we've got a lot of history in the state of Florida. The first 5 Tuskegee Airmen actually trained in Tallahassee. We've got the Muriel Haitian boat lift. We've got General Chappie James up in Pensacola. We've got the axe handle stuff up in Jacksonville. But, we've got a whole lot of Black history that we need to put in a museum. Most states have a Black museum, right, that they fund. Florida does not have one. So this is something we got to do. It'll become a tourist attraction. It can pay for itself. But, we've got to teach our own history, right? We've got to make sure that our kids understand why history is important. And then the other thing for my district, man, is always trying to get money for after-school programs. So there's some programs down in Paramore. Some of the constituents over in Richmond Heights want a science, technology, engineering, and math after-school building. So I'm going to try to get some money to do that, right? We've got some healthcare issues, right? Well, we got to focus on making sure that our folks know how to take care of themselves when it comes to diabetes, sickle cell, high blood pressure, cancer, and all that stuff. So for me, really, it's just getting funding for programs in my district that help our kids, our senior citizens, our everyday people.
Now Rep, are you running for mayor or something?
No, man.
Because boy, I tell you, you're laying it out here. But I got 2 things to say to you. One, my good friend sitting to my left, I'm not. My ego is not that big that I can't apologize because the guy sitting to my left single-handedly put his hand on the lever of a local race here a few years ago, and he's since come around and made some apologies. So I didn't jump on you. I apologize. I apologize. If he can do it, I can do it. And then number 2, man, you getting deep.
Yeah,
you getting deep.
Yeah. Now you mentioned some of the history and the need for a Black History museum here in the state of Florida, but right here in Central Florida, you have Lieutenant Daniel Keel, who was one of the Tuskegee Airmen. I want to say he is, if not close to his hundreds. And that is something that he would probably appreciate and different things like that. And you're absolutely right, Rep, that there has to be a place where our young people, Black, white, blue, green, whatever the color, knows about the history of African Americans here in the state. And little known fact, I was on the highest of 7 hills of Florida A&M University, where I obtained my African American Studies degree. I was probably the only person with a Bachelor of Science in African American Studies because I was a computer science major for the first 2 years, and then I figured out that I couldn't do that. But that's all. But here's the other thing that's coming up, because as we talk about this, there is an issue right now here in the state of Florida where students or groups have asked for African American Studies or African American History to be an AP course.
Right.
And so how does that tie into African-American history here in the state of Florida, along with the $30 million that you're trying to put together to build a knowledge and awareness of African-American history?
Right. So last year when the Republicans passed the Stop Woke bill, the anti-critical race theory bill, somewhere on lines 408 through 420, there was a couple of sentences that says it's important that the state of Florida teach accurate Black history, right?
So stop right there, bro.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to stop right there. You know the line that it said? I don't know if y'all caught that. See, stuff like that, you know the line that it said it?
Right.
Listen, that's the level of detail that we need in the Florida House.
Right.
But I digress. Please continue.
Okay. And so it said that we need to teach in our public schools how laws have been passed to discriminate against Black people, right? And so, man, that is huge, right? And so let's kind of fast forward to where we are in the legislature and the Black legislators now. So we got a lot of young 30-some-year-old Black legislators now, right? They grew up when what I call the entitlement era, right? I grew up in South Alabama, Mobile, Alabama. We couldn't go certain places. We couldn't go to certain schools. We couldn't stay in certain hotels. Doors were closed. So this generation of Black legislators, right? They are entitled to everything. There's never been a door closed to them. So they take everything for granted. We have one legislator, I was talking to him, I said, hey, we got to make sure that we maintain this funding for our historically Black colleges and university in the state of Florida. And the person said, hey, I went to the University of Florida. I don't care about no Black schools. And my thing is, but you represent a Black district, right? So you don't care about Black folk? But that's the mentality.
Wow.
Of the newer folks coming in, right? Their struggles are not the same struggles that I will focus on, right? So I'm still trying to make sure we don't do away with certain laws, right? They don't care. They just moving forward, right? It's all about, I went to the University of Florida. I went to Florida State. That stuff ain't important to me, right? And so, man, we've got some serious challenges. And this all goes back to the history. They don't know the history. And so there's a big rally in Tallahassee this week with Al Sharpton to talk about this advanced placement course, right? They're firing up. The rally is good, but at the same time, every time that's happened in the past, man, that just destroys our chances for getting funding because it would create the niggerism fight, right? And so we get caught up on fighting the niggerism stuff, right? And we lose sight of what's important. There's a $112 billion budget. How much of that money we gonna get out of that budget? Because we can fix a whole lot of problems with that $112 billion, but we can't fix no problem with no words, right?
Yeah. Rep, you're getting deep. Rep, you're getting, and I just hated to interrupt you, but hey, if you're listening to Star 94.5, you're listening to Monica May's point of view. We have a special guest with us this morning, and that's none other than Representative Bruce Santon, District 41. And hey, you don't have to just have a question. You can have a comment. You can even call in to compliment if you like what you're listening to. That phone number is 844-945-2945. I'm sorry, Rep.
Oh, no. But I mean, we just got a lot of challenges, man. So it's not always working with the Republicans. Sometimes it's just working with our own people, right? And so,
you mentioned something interesting in understanding the history of how things come about, and you probably remember this, but in the early '90s, maybe it was in the late '90s, they had the MPLE, Minority Participation in Legal Education,
right?
And that fund was put together because the Florida A&M University School had been taken away, and so that fund was to allow more participation by minorities and African Americans in the legal process. And so it wasn't just the school, but across every law school in the state of Florida, you had a certain number of students who had these dollars to go towards their legal education. How has it worked out since, from your perspective, in taking away the MPLE and putting that money towards FAMU? Is that increasing the participation?
Hey, well, this not Comedy Central now. Come on.
Well, once the MPLE went away, and the MPLE went away in exchange for giving FAMU a law school, right? But when you look at the demographics of the FAMU law school, I doubt if 30% of the students attending that law school are African American. And so again, it all comes down to affordability, right? If you ain't got no money to go to law school, you can't go. If you ain't got no money to go to medical school, $250,000, you can't go. So this medical fellowship, scholarship program I'm talking about is somewhat similar to the MPLE. But I'm just trying to make sure there's money there for Black kids and Hispanic kids to go to medical school if they want to go to school. So about 700 people are admitted to the medical schools here in Florida every year, the public medical schools in the University of Miami. Less than 50 of them are Black. Wow. And the whole issue is folks sit there and they say, man, I can't afford this $250,000, right? So my daughter wants to go to medical school. Well, you got 1,300 hours of clinical research, right? And then the job that you get the clinical research in don't pay much, right? And so there's all these barriers in place to stop you, right? So going back to the MPLE, the medical school thing. So once you get in medical school, what happens when my car breaks down? I can't pay my rent. You know, I got some medical emergencies. So this program I'm trying to put in place is $10 million a year for the next 5 years, right? It's going to take care of all of that, counseling, all of that stuff, man. But we got so many issues up in Tallahassee. Another big fight, and I'm going off in a different direction, is going to be this Disney Reedy Creek thing, right?
Oh, yeah.
So, man, the governor wants to do away with the city of Reedy Creek, and folk don't know that Disney World is Reedy Creek. There's only 10 folks that live on the property at Disney, right? And so the governor's going to put his own city council in place, right? So I don't know how he's going to work that. There's only 10 folks that live in Reedy Creek, right? So what are they going to do? Make Disney build a house for his people? I don't know. I shouldn't even go on that, right? Because that's going to get in trouble. I
thought you were trying to get some money for the community, bro.
I actually have a good working relationship with it, right, man? I just have to go in there like, oh my God, man, some of this other stuff, right? But that's all part of being in the legislature, right? Yeah. I go in there with a list of 3 pages, Governor. This is what I want, right? He's like, man, I don't like that. I don't like that. But okay, all right. So we're down to a page and a half. You're like, I'm good, man. Because a page and a half of stuff that he will accept is better than none. So I ain't
maybe to bring home some racist. Yeah. Maybe to bring. And as I look at your the committee assignments and listen to what you say that you want to accomplish, one of the committees that stand out to me more so than any of the rest is that healthcare appropriation subcommittee.
Oh yeah, that's a big one, man.
Yeah.
That's a big one.
But that is why we're having this kind of conversation, so that, and I'm gonna just go through this real quick. You sit on the Commerce Committee, you sit on the Energy, Communication, and Cybersecurity Subcommittee, the Agriculture, Conservation, and Resiliency Subcommittee. You also sit on the Infrastructure and Tourism, and this is another good one because anytime you hear appropriation in a committee, Greg, what? Appropriation, tell folks what that means.
Giving out money.
Giving out money.
Ain't gonna mince no words.
Right. Hey, so you're on 2 appropriations committee, and so that's why Greg and I, part of our job is when you leaning over that cliff,
right,
we the ones that's gonna help pull you back so you don't go over. But you sit on 2 powerful committees, and we're gonna look forward to doing whatever we can do.
And let me say this. So this year, the big emphasis is gonna be on infrastructure, aging infrastructure. So they're gonna spend a lot of money on roads, repairing bridges and things of that nature. And then on the healthcare appropriation, that's almost 40% of Florida's budget, right? So Medicaid, care for seniors, DCF, foster kids, all of that. Black folks need to get some of that money, right? We need to get a lot of that money, right? So I think I might be only one of 2 African Americans on that committee, right? So we're gonna take a new fight to them this year.
I'm not a mathematician. But Greg Jackson,
yes, sir.
Half of 120 is 60, right?
Last time I checked.
Last time we checked. And I don't know if the audience just caught what you just said, but approximately 40%
of the
state budget goes to that health.
Yeah.
Y'all do the math on that.
Yeah, that's
$50 million. $50 billion.
Billion dollars.
Yeah. So a lot of money spent there. Again, I've been around a long time. I know I'm running out of time. Been around a long time. This is my 3rd time in Tallahassee. I got a lot of experience, got a lot of wisdom, right? I'm on the appropriation committee. Don't put me on no education stuff, no judiciary stuff, right? Let's talk about where the action taking place. I'm on the cybersecurity. I'm the only Negro on that committee, right? And then I got an IBM background, so I'm there able to ask the right questions, right? And hold folks accountable for spending another $100 million on an unemployment system, right? So it's gonna work. It don't help.
But now listen, let's not skirt around that, because as important as it is for people to know what you're doing in Tallahassee, it's also important that folks know who you are, because the human Bruce Antone, not Rebbe, but the human Bruce Antone is a fantastic and a marvelous person to get to know. And I always talk about this, and I have vowed, and I have not done it. I said I would never reveal our very first conversation. But that's when I realized the realness of who you were. But some of the things, because I always learn something new about you. But track and field, I didn't know that you ran track and field. But just taking a step back, your background is electrical engineering from the Tuskegee Institute, Tuskegee University. Talk to us, or talk to the people about your track and field days. That's what I want. That's what they want to hear about right now. Bruce Antone on the track field with the little short song. What was that?
What? If it's confirmed, I think I will be the first track athlete inducted into the Tuskegee Athletic Hall of Fame in homecoming.
Look at that. Look what you find out. Congratulations.
So, I mean, at one time, I was kind of fast and small.
What was your event?
I ran the high hurdles. I ran the intermediate hurdles. Serious. I ran relay duty. I ran the 13.7 in the high hurdles.
On the high hurdles?
Yeah.
Now, for you all who don't understand what a 13.7 is, I want to say the world record is 12.87 or something like that. 13 is moving.
It was 13.2.
13.2 is moving.
And this is the best thing. My very first race outdoors in college, I ran against Ronaldo Nehemiah. Now, we were all running for second place, right? Because homeboy was gone, right? But my best victory was at the University of Tennessee. I was running against Willie Galt, who had the fastest time.
Played for Chicago Bears. Played for Chicago Bears.
Yeah. He had the fastest time in the world. He's like 100th of a second off the world record, right?
Yeah.
So, man, we running down there. Homeboy failed.
Oh,
I got so excited I almost stopped. And I was like, man, I could win this race, right? And I ran across the finish line and won, right? I'm ready to retire from that, right?
Hey.
But track was my thing, man. I had a ball, made some good friendships, man. We rode around in some raggedy vans at Tuskegee. They broke down all the time. I had a mean track coach. Man, we go to California, he give us $5 a day to eat on, right? Then he go to the mall and spend up all our food money on clothes for him and his family, right? Man.
But you learn some things through athletics, and you get fortitude. You get that, while everybody else is competing, you're out there winning. And go ahead, Greg.
Didn't I tell you the person Bruce Antone is if you just sit back and let him talk, you hear some things.
And we going on. So, and Mr. Neese, don't let us talk through any of the doggone breaks, because this is good. This is good. Hey, this is so good, Rep, that you getting so deep and you getting so passionate. Man, you overheat, man. Here goes something. You got one.
Now your next guest was supposed to be coming on. Am I bleeding over into this?
No.
Okay. So, all right, let me tell you this other track story. So we at the University of Florida, and I'm on that.
Rep, I'm sorry. Hey, you know what? We can never pass up a great opportunity to hear somebody that want to chime in. Hey, caller, you're on Star 94.5, Monica Mays Point. Give the number.
If you all want to hear more of this conversation, ask Representative Antone some questions, ask Bruce Antone some questions, our friend, our buddy. All you have to do is dial 844-945-2945 again to be a part of this fantastic conversation at 6:34 in the morning. You can do it, people. I promise you can do it. Pick up that phone, open up your eyes, and dial 844-945-2944. What's the other track story, Rep?
All right, so the other track story, man, we had this real big track bid, about 15,000 folks understand, right? So I'm on the anchor leg.
15,000?
Yeah,
What stadium? Which
I ain't gonna tell you where it is. Folks go back and know where it is, right? So I'm on the anchor leg of the 4x200, right? And so everybody basically on the anchor leg for all these other schools, the University of Alabama, Tennessee, Florida State, right? They ranked in like the top 20th in the world. And then there's Bruce Antone there, right? And so, man, we 50 yards behind, right? 50 yards behind. So here come Mel Latney, James, I can't think of the guy from the University of Alabama. They go by, boom, right? And, man, folks screaming, right? We 50 yards behind, man. I took off, grabbed the baton, grabbed the back of my hamstring like I pulled my hamstring and walked off the track. Wasn't no way I was going to come down that home stretch. 50 yards behind everybody, right? And then my old crazy track coach, he was like Donald Trump. He had a nasty nickname for everybody, right? Faggot, Fagley, ugly ass, stupid ass, ignorant. Those are our nicknames, right?
Man, I gotta take my glasses off.
So you'll be standing at the start line, right? And hear me and my teammate, right? And then he be like, and I'm not trying to offend anybody, right? But these are our nicknames. Let's go, faggot and faggot, right? 10,000 folk in the state. Everybody look around. What are you talking about, right? We look around. Oh, them boys from Tuskegee, right? Because our coach them bought us these little shorts, man. Them things so doggone short. Oh, man. I had a ball. But $5 a day to eat on, man. Man, my teammates
go back in time.
Pop-Tarts, right? Trying to sneak and eat them at the middle of the night. Well, my mom and dad made sure I had plenty of money, right? So I go for a walk every night, go down the street to McDonald's and eat, right? Come back, man, I'm starving, right? I felt sorry for my teammate, but I couldn't feed everybody. Feed everybody. But, man, man, it is an honor to be in the legislature. And so I'm only the third African-American to have been elected to the Florida legislature from Central Florida, man. Wow. Think about this. Wow. In 2023, I'm only the third. Now, of course, Senator Thompson, Geraldine Thompson, that's come behind me, Travaris McCurdy, and I think Camille Brown and Senator Bracy, but I was only the third, man. Wow. And it's only been maybe 150 African Americans elected to the Florida legislature in 200 years or so. So it really is an honor. I take my job serious. And so me going back, and it's strange, I'm walking through the halls, right? And all the Republicans like, man, welcome back. Welcome. We're glad to have you back, man. You gonna keep things calm this year?
Nah. Yeah. I can already. Listen, man, we have someone that's on the line. Carl, you're on live this morning with the dynamic duo guest star for Miss Monica May on Monica May's Point of View with Representative Bruce Antone. Let's talk about it, Carl. How you doing this morning?
Hi.
Good morning. Who are we speaking to? Well, how you doing? Do you have a question for the rep? You have something you want to add to the conversation?
Tell her that she's got to turn her radio down.
Can you turn your radio down, please, so we can hear you a little bit better?
Did you call my office just this past week? All right.
Okay, we need you to turn your radio down, but Rep, you heard the question, right?
Yeah. I am almost sure you're the lady that called my office this week, or you email me. We have your information. And let me give you my email information. And if you'll send me an email, we'll get on that. But it is HONBANT39@gmail.com. So H is in Harry, O is in Orange, N is in Nancy, B is in boy, A is in apple, N is in Nancy, T is in Tom, 39@gmail.com. But if you'll send me an email there or call my office again, we will get that list to you. And you're talking about something we've done in the past, Infinite Scholars. I partnered up with Infinite Scholars at Evans High School for a couple of years. So I think the first year I partnered up with them, we gave away $5 million of scholarships on the spot. We came back the next year, 2019, and gave away $12 million. Wow. And then came back in 2020 and gave away like $15 million. So we gave away almost $30-some million in scholarship on the spot to African American and Hispanic kids at Evans High School. And
hey, Rep, everybody's filling up the chat box now, man. And y'all could call in to the show, but Rep, they're asking what is your office number, because now, and thanks to the caller that just called in, now more people want to know more about this.
Oh my God!
So while Rep is looking up,
you're gonna come here at 6 o'clock in the morning to get busy, now didn't you?
That's why I don't never give out my phone number. You're supposed to be calling, asking for stuff. Hey, that's what we're supposed to do, right?
Yeah,
so nobody get it wrong. So my office number is 407-297-2001. 407-297-2001. And you don't need to know where my office is. You don't need to come in there, call us on the phone, right? We can take care of your issue on the phone, right? Y'all come in there, then y'all want to sit down, then y'all want some coffee, donuts, water. We ain't giving away nothing free. Call us, man.
So, but listen, Brother Love, this is the beautiful part about Miss Monica May's point of view. Is that there are folks that are listening from across the Orlando metro area, Orange County, Seminole County, all of these counties, where when Representative Antone is talking, you see that they're getting a chance to hear this great information. So again, we want to thank Mr. Elroy, we want to thank Ms. Monica May, we want to thank this whole staff for giving us this opportunity to bring Representative Antone in here to continue to serve the people. We appreciate it.
And especially when politicians aren't looking too good right now publicly. Rep, man, you are always on the grind. And here's something that Greg and I said. Greg, we started the, Let's Talk Nation, what, five years ago. And the bottom line on it was we say we wanted to do this to get results. We see what you're doing. What you're doing can be measured. Can be measured. And it kind of goes back to one of our other good friends who you know very well, and want to thank you for your contributions to participate in this process. But Dr. Randy Nelson, who is a well-known research scientist and is sought after throughout the country regarding community engagement, regarding pulling communities together with law enforcement, developing a plan that they both mutually engage in to develop a plan. And Mayor Demings did a great job when he created the task force several months ago.
Right.
That task force actually, and it wasn't a comfortable situation. Folk came to the table with whatever they had, and I will testify, a lot of baggage came to the table too, but it needed to be discussed. Dr. Nelson, man, in what he has been doing with the conversations with law enforcement, and there's some that don't belong in the uniform.
Right.
But for the most part, law enforcement does an excellent job, and the community has been understanding and changing positions with law enforcement to understand what they deal with and developing something that has not been put in place, to my knowledge, ever. And what Dr. Nelson does throughout the country, but I'm glad we got him in Florida. He develops an action plan that law enforcement and specific communities, because that action plan is not going to be germane to the entire Orange County, because every community is different.
Right.
But man, I think, Rep, and I'll go ahead and say this to you, we need to look at how can we expand that, because now more dialogue is taking place. When there's an incident in communities, there's not a knee jerk. Communities understand, let's go, no matter how bad it is, let's have some discussion and conversation.
Listen, once again, though, Brother Love, we're lighting up the phones this morning at 6:43 in the morning. This is amazing. I can't believe
the church don't start till when, Greg?
The church don't start at 8 o'clock where I'm from. So listen, call on the line. Caller, you are online with Brother Love, Greg Jackson, special star guest host for Miss Monica May on Monica May's Point of View with Bruce Antone. Let's talk about how you gonna call her this morning.
Good morning. Good love.
Hey, who is that? Oh man, hey, some of the best breakfast food, man. Hey, how you doing this morning, Miss Candy? Hey, Candy, we thank you and Rep, and I'll say this to the listeners of Star 94.5, to all of those followers of Miss Monica May Point of View. Miss Candy, how long has your business been open and established now in South Apopka? A year and a half. She's on the grind, Rep. I know that's not inside your
where's she located? And I'll go by and eat breakfast. Then I'll skip church and maybe zoom in the church.
Yeah, there you go. You can
That
zoom
way I
in
don't
this
have to put no
morning.
money in the collection.
Miss Candy, you hear me? So tell them where you're located.
You know they got Cash App at church. Now you can't get away with that no more.
I'll have Cash App on my phone.
Hey, Miss Candy, tell them where you're located.
All right, I hope it costs less than $10.
Hey, listen, hey, I tell you, you get a good breakfast, man, for $11.
Oh, that's out of my price.
No. Hey, but I will say this: it's because of small businesses like Lula Mae's Eatery that she's creating jobs in that community, and she's just on top of what she needs to be.
Now, Brother Love, you know I got to clown you now.
Okay.
Now you know when you got your own personal call from the donut shop.
There you go.
You know you're going there too much, right? When you got the owner of the donut shop listening to you, the one that calling you to thank you, to tell you to come on back.
Hey, it is not a donut shop though. Hey, it's that good breakfast too,
I'm
man.
gonna go by that. Seriously.
Hey, thank you, Miss Candy, for calling in. Hey, we appreciate that call though. We do.
Absolutely. Yes, man.
Thank you.
But one of the things we also need to do from a legislative perspective is the Legislative Black Caucus need to focus on helping
small businesses.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And especially Black businesses, right? Whether that be Caribbean, Jamaican, African American, what have you. But we really got to start to focus on that and helping them.
You know what, Rep. Antone, one thing I didn't hear, and I'm not hearing it from a lot of folks right now, is what is the stance or what is the feel or the temperature about CRAs, community redevelopment agencies?
Yeah.
Well, because I know that about 2 years ago that there was, or maybe a little bit, there was some aims to get rid of them. But what's the temperature? How do legislators feel about CRAs?
That's quiet now. So 2 or 3 years ago, we passed some legislation that was attempting to do away with CRAs. And it was opening up the door for the counties and the cities to do away with CRAs. But then the cities and counties would have to renew those things every 5 or 10 years, right? So what the cities and counties are doing are letting the CRAs they don't want go away, right?
Right.
But then they're keeping CRAs like the Downtown Development Board, the International Drive CRA, and stuff like that. CRAs, man,
Rep.
bad.
I got to go in on my friend here because he's the one who told me 5 years ago it's a sad frog that won't croak over his own pond. And 4 years ago, and I can't remember what speaker it was that wanted to eliminate CRAs. But me and my good friend here, we wrote the white paper on CRAs for the House and the Senate back then. So I'm checking out this doggone humble toad next to me that won't even croak over his own pond. Hey, I'm sorry. We have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome to Star 94.5, Monica May's Point of View. Caller, are you there? Representative Bruce Anton's number is area code 407-297-2001. And I'm sure it'll be scrolling across the screen on the Let's Talk Nation Facebook page here. I know our executive producer, Doc Polite, will take care of that for us. Hey, did you have another question for Rep?
Well, call my office. Sandra is there. If she doesn't answer the phone, she'll get back to you. But we'll do what we can to help you. That's what we're there for.
She wants his.
If you gonna hold the line 1 second, hey, Mr. Neese, can you get that number for me and I can return that call? Thank you.
And if you own a donut shop, he'll call you right.
Hey, and these my friends here. Hey, but thank you for calling. Thank you for calling.
And Rep, I hope your assistant or your aide is better than my assistant because they get calls and I get people calling me back saying they ain't never returned my call. So I hope she's better than mine.
No, we go through that every day. Hey, who call my office, right? When I'm out at church, or I'm out at the restaurant, or I'm in my office with this Denny's and a Koi, right? Oh, come up, man. I called your office. I'm like,
they call back.
Yeah.
So big ups to Shaquita, to Jennifer and Morena, my three right hands. I got three right hands, so big ups to them. I'm just messing with them. But listen, we setting these lines on fire this morning, Bruce. Excuse me. Representative Antone, I got
it. Bruce. I don't like that title.
I got it. But listen, we have another call on the line. Call here on live with Brother Love, Greg Jackson, and our special guest, Representative Bruce Antone. Let's talk about how you doing this morning. Well, thank you. Now you got to turn your radio down so we can hear you. Get some interference from your radio.
Man, I ain't coming on y'all's show no more.
We're working you too hard?
Yeah, man. No, I'm just joking.
Okay, we need you to take this off speakerphone, please.
Speakerphone too.
gonna drop the call.
Advanced placement.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so I think I understand what you're talking about, and I didn't mean to cut you off. So the issue there is Governor DeSantis and the Florida Department of Education has decided that this advanced placement Black History course is not in alignment with Florida law. So, and I'm not defending him. He just said that there's some reading material as part of that curriculum that deals with queers, and this is straight from his stuff. Queers, intersectionality. He's got a problem with the reading material in there that deals with Black Lives Matter. He's saying it's not accurate. It's indoctrinating people. And here's my response to what Governor DeSantis has done. And I'm going to criticize my colleagues because, man, they jumped out there. They pulled out their pistols, right, and they firing back at him, right? So my whole thing was, look, we need to go sit down with him. So let's have this conversation. Tell me what it is that you don't like about this advanced placement course, right? And then let's figure out how to fix that. Either take that out or what have you, right? But, we can't always fight stuff in public, right? And just blow stuff up because that's the thing to do. So I know when I go back, I'm going to request a meeting with the Department of Education so we can try to get a handle on what is it that you have a problem with. And then is that something we can fix? Because we got to teach Black history. Now, they already teach European history, German history, Asian history, some other stuff in advanced placement, right? But let's not just have a problem with the Black history stuff, right? Because again, we're talking about we got to teach Black history. Right?
Something that you just brought up, and I want to point this out. Oftentimes, and everybody got their own different style,
right? But
before we engage in the fight, let's have a conversation first.
Exactly.
But here's the other thing though, too, Brother Love, that I heard, and I will admit I hadn't read everything about what was proposed for this particular program. But the other histories that you were talking about, the European history, Asian history, do they have those other languages and provisions in there that bring in other issues? Because here's the thing that happens with Black culture more times than not is that our issues are hijacked by other people's interests. And they put things in our they put things under our issues that really benefit them, that hurts us getting things. So my question is, do the European and the Asian history courses have these same efforts to add on what isn't really an element of their culture?
And I don't know the answer to that question. And that's the other thing. I don't know if anybody's even gone back and looked at the curriculums for the Europeans, the Germans, what have you, right? So all of that needs to come under review real quick, right? But you brought up a good point. Everybody hijacks our issues, right? So like when I'm chairing the Black Caucus, right? Certain folk can't come to the mic and speak at a press conference because I know they're going to introduce an issue.
That hadn't even been addressed with you.
Right.
Hadn't been addressed. And man, you're going to start getting me to sweat like you are about talking about some passionate issues. And one of those issues is this. Man, we start out on a path where everybody says we understand what this issue and the topic is. And then we start seeing the crowd break away. And if you start breaking away and abandoning, and I tell you, a group who does, and this is observation, and one of the things Dr. Nelson tells me, right, don't get into theory and your opinion, measure what you see before you. And man, I tell you, the Hispanic community, when they mobilize,
right,
hey man, they see that issue from the beginning to the end. Can we do that?
No, we can't. And let me give you something. Let's go back a couple of years. You talking about police reform, which you all were doing. Great effort, right? And so I had put together 10 pages of legislation for police reform that I sent up to Governor DeSantis right after George Floyd, right? So this is the path we going down. Well, then here comes another community that doesn't look like us that wants to bring in, and please forgive me, the LGBTQ and discrimination against the transgender. Wait, that ain't part of this police reform, right? If we just address police reform and treating everybody properly, right, we will address the transgender issue, but don't get us sidetracked with that, right? And then here comes the other group of folks, defund the police, right? Hey, don't bring that in here. Because now you're undermining everything. So then this group of people that don't look like us wanted to bring like 10 buses of protesters to Tallahassee. No, don't bring them there, because that's going to trigger folk like our friend Dennis Backler, right? And Dennis Backler just shut all that stuff down, right? Don't bring them buses up here. You know what? Let me know when the buses come. I'm going to come flat the tires off. Y'all can't come to Tallahassee, right? But that's the point. All this other stuff gets thrown in. So in this particular case, we can teach Black history without talking about queer, because I'm not sure how that fits in with Black history. The Black Lives Matter thing, while that's important, it is taking on a life of its own.
It's taking on a life of its own, and I'd be remiss, Rep, to not say this, but I'm still searching to see how impacting the revenue that's been generated from Black Matters Lives has impacted the Black community, because I don't see it.
Well, it has impacted the California economy, because apparently somebody bought a $2 million house.
Mansions and contracts. And you know what? The audience might be listening and maybe don't like what we're saying, but I challenge the audience to bring forth some documents that you have to show us, has any mentoring programs been put in place? Has any job training? And
what was the statistic that came out from that even after the money was given to Black Lives Matter, the violence in the Black community actually increased?
Hey, $75 million. Come on, Greg, man. You starting. You're going to get us hot and going up in here. Don't start that, man. Don't start that, because you know we'll go there.
But again, I go back to my statement. When I was the chairman of the Black Caucus, right? Certain folk can't speak, right? And I'm going to touch you in your chest. You speak, right? That's all you're talking about. Stay on the script, right? And then I stood right next to them. And so if they start saying something like, I'll bump them on out the way. No, you're not going to hijack my press conference and undermine the message we're trying to get across here, because you got your own personal agenda.
Yeah.
And so that happens all the time. They be like, oh, let's invite this progressive. No, they can't be a part of this group, right? Because you don't never know what they're going to say. So I hope I ain't ramble too much.
No.
But listen, Rep, we have about 2 minutes. And this has been, as always, I tell people, when you talk to Bruce Antone, you learn something. You are a knowledge base beyond belief, not just in education, but just in what you know about this community and about working in the legislature and different things like that. So just, give us your parting thoughts.
Man, Black folk need to stand up and fight, right? So if there's trash on Kirkman Road, then y'all need to pick the phone and call folks. If there's trash on Colonial Drive, you need to call. But the Black community has to start calling people, and don't bug me, but call people, right? And hold elected officials accountable for your own community. Don't just lay there and complain.
Yeah.
You got to do stuff. So I'm going to do what I can.
Rep, we appreciate you. Don't go anywhere real quick. We got a call on the line. We want to close out. Caller, can you hit this thing in about 30 seconds?
15 seconds.
Caller, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Caller, what's your name?
All right, you got 2 seconds. Yeah, what's going on, Tim? You got 2 seconds.
I believe you made a comment about
It is.
Yeah, absolutely. But listen, we appreciate you, Chance, for calling us this morning, for being a part of this conversation with Representative Bruce Antone. Rep. Antone, as always, we appreciate having a conversation with you, getting the chance to let folks know what we know about you, because you are a fantastic leader, a bridger of different thought processes that is going to be beneficial to helping communities move forward.
And don't you forget, man, this is all about Monica May's point of view. Hey, we appreciate you, Rep.
No, thank you. Thank Monica. Thank the Dime. Thank you, Greg. Thank you, Doc Polite. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. This is a blessing, right? So since I've been blessed, I'm skipping church this morning.
No. Hey, real 10-second spot. Reverend Richard King wanted me to let you know that over in Eustis and St. James at 4:00 this afternoon, he is having a Men's Day, 100 men program, and he said he loved the way you talk. So we don't know what your agenda is, but once again, thank you for being on Monica May's point of view.
All right, thank you.
All right.
Quick,
Your partner got some food over there, man?
Well, hey, you know he does. You know he does.
Hey, man, I'll see y'all later.
Joe's European Quality Auto Repair. Mercedes-Benz, BMWs, Jaguars, and Porsche. Joe's Quality Auto Repair specializes in European cars. Joe's Quality Auto Repair is located at 1240 State Road, 436 in Altamont Springs. Stop paying a king's ransom for your foreign auto repairs. Call Joe's Quality Auto Repair, mention Let's Talk Nation, and he'll beat certified dealership repair quotes by 30%. Call Joe's Quality Auto Repair at 407-409-6040. Again, 407-409-6040 for the best affordable and guaranteed European auto repairs.
Gun violence prevention, conflict resolution. Gun violence prevention, conflict resolution training, positive law enforcement interactions. These are a few program service delivery contacts that the community-based services CBS Accountability smartphone app captures. Good intent.
Greg's brother. And Greg, nobody does introductions like Greg does introduction, but man, we were lighting it up with Representative Bruce Antone. To say the least, having fun, doing constituent education. We got Marvin and Miss Denise in the engineering booth. They making it sound good.
Got Miss Anna with us also.
You got Miss Anna with us. And then, we cannot do this without thanking Mr. Elroy Smith. Absolutely. And, our good friend, Miss Monica May. But Greg, this guy sitting next to us, man, he is legend. Yeah. He is legend. Remember what I told you earlier? One of the things that, I could not do? Hockey. Hockey. Now you want to go back to, hey, see, Denise, he want to stay on the donut shop with me. Hey, I'm gonna go home and get on my Norder track. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna get on. Hey, thanks for telling me in your harsh, kind way. Thanks a lot, brother. But Greg, man, nobody does introductions like you. But man, I gotta tell you, man, this guy, man, I don't know how long it has been when we first met. I'm thinking, man, going back maybe a couple of years now. But man, I see what he does as a professional. I see the love and compassion that he exudes to his family, but that's appreciated because he's extended that compassion and love to brothers like you and myself. So, Greg, I'm gonna pass the baton.
No, absolutely, Brother Love. And this morning, they once said there's a saying that says, "Go big or go home." And so we decided we didn't want to go home, and we wanted to bring in none other than Jason Siegel. And Jason Siegel is the president and chief executive officer of the Greater Orlando Sports Commission. Under his leadership, he has hosted more than 350 events projected to drive more than $1 billion in economic impact from 2016 until 2022. So there has been a tremendous impact from his work and dedication in this community as a sports advocate under the Greater Orlando Sports Commission. But Brother Love, here's the thing that is more exciting. This is a man that will not only just talk sports, bring sports into the community, but he would tie it on and get on the ice and play hockey. So and play hockey. So with us this morning, we have none other than Mr. Jason Siegel. Mr. Siegel, how you doing this morning?
Man, welcome to the show.
I've never been better.
Hey, and actually, I was telling Greg earlier, I said, man, Jason is going to lead this show, and he's going to actually go get on the ice for a charity. I mean, we're going to just really start this thing out, man, comfortable, relaxed. But what is this charity so you can go ahead and give a shout out and maybe raise some money for this charity?
Yeah, no, it's a great effort by the Orlando Solar Bears. I had the great privilege of coming to Orlando for just this reason. Was my college roommate and I purchased a minor league franchise. The Solar Bears existed here in the community for a number of years, owned and operated by the DeVos family in the 90s. They actually won a championship in 2001, and then the league folded.
Did you own them when they?
So we brought them back.
Okay.
So in 2011, we worked with the ECHL, the East Coast Hockey League at the time, to purchase a new franchise. And we sat down with Alex Martins from the Magic. We sat down with Alan Johnson from Amway Center and said, we'd love to get this thing started again. And the Magic had already moved over, of course. The arena was no longer the Amway Center up and running. They had an ice plant, and we were ready to go. So we brought the Solar Bears back out of hibernation. In 2012, Mayor Dyer dropped the puck.
No pun intended.
No pun intended. And we were off and running. And you know what, Rod? Our platform, as much as we knew that mission one was to entertain, but it was family entertainment at a family price. And the part two of that, 1A was entertain. 1B, we had to give back to the community. And we were active and involved. I remember early on, Mayor Dyer gave us a list of folks that we could get ourselves involved with. My partner, Joe Haleski, gave to Advent Health, Florida Hospital at the time. We were active with the United Cancer Society, American Diabetes, American Heart Association, epilepsy. There were so many nonprofits that we were able to help through either ticket sales drives or so many different ways. And that was the core of our being. That was really what we wanted to do, was ingrain ourselves in the fabric of this community. And in 2016, 17-ish, sold the franchise to the Magic, back to the Magic and the DeVos family. And they've continued that great tradition. So today, I've got to be at the arena at 9:15 for a little warm up, and then by 10:15 we'll be on the ice, and then we'll be playing in this charity game.
Jason, you just don't go jump back on the ice, man. Have you continued to get out on the ice? Because you're just talking like, okay, I hadn't been in it for a while. I'm gonna just go jump back on that ice. I know my ankles will be broke.
Yeah, no, I there's a little bit of a hiatus. I'll be honest, I haven't been out there in a little while. But I played men's leagues and all kinds of stuff for a number of years for my college days, and I'm ready to roll. I went out at 6 a.m. on Wednesday to put the training wheels back on,
practice,
and make sure that I could get around okay.
So now, where does one hail from to start playing hockey?
I grew up in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Go Eagles, fly Eagles, fly.
The city of brotherly shove is what I've once heard.
Brotherly shove,
brotherly love, brotherly ride love, and. Grew up in Philadelphia. My mom's from Philadelphia. My father's from Brooklyn, and that's where I got my upbringing.
Nice,
man,
nice.
Man. You know, Jason, when you talk about, when you own the team, and you talk about Mayor Dyer giving you a list of organizations that he encouraged you to get involved with. Me and Greg, we've heard that from numerous people as we've been doing this show going on 6 years now. But I got to tell you, and this is based on being familiar with you, man, it all starts with the leadership. I've seen what you've been able to do out there, man. And, you've been in this capacity that you're in now, president and CEO of Orlando Sports Commission since 2016.
Yep.
And you're continuing that good work, man. But in our research, originally I thought, man, this was just, confined to Orange County. And that's something I want you to get into. You oversee a region of venues. So could you tell our audience how expansive is this region?
I can.
Hey, but before you do that, we got to do some housekeeping here.
No.
Hey,
let's make some.
You're
money.
listening to Jason Siegel, the president and CEO of Orlando Sports Commission. And we're going to dig a little deep. This is a person that you want to know, you want to get familiar with. And in order to do that, if you have a question, if you got a comment, if you got a compliment, hey, give a call in. I know Greg is sitting over there saying, if you got something you want to push back on, let him call in too. But I got my attorney sitting to the left, so he can take that call too. But that number is 844-945-2945. Once again, 844-945-2945. I'm sorry, Jason.
Yeah, no, we have the great pleasure of serving this community. And it is not lost on us just how big a region it is that we work within. We have our agency is 30 years old. We were created in 1992 with the sole purpose of bringing World Cup soccer here in 1994. That went well and very successful. $208 million, $218 million worth of business that came our way in 1994 in the summer. And that was a big surprise. No one thought Orlando at the time could host a major marquee event like that. and Joni Sherm and so many others who were a part of the original days, the early days, Mike Clary, there are a number of folks that did such a wonderful job. They decided to make it a permanent thing. So the Sports Commission was created, and for many of those 30 years, we have represented Osceola County, Lake County, Seminole County, Orange County, and the city of Orlando. So our footprint is expansive, and it is by far one of the largest in the country. And by way of example, about 10 years ago, there were 100 sports commissions in the United States. So regional opportunities. So big cities, you know, you have your big markets, your medium markets, a couple of small markets. There's 650 sports commissions in the United States right now. So what's happened is counties have broken off and done their own thing. And there are smaller markets that if they had an open cornfield or if they had an open lot, they would build a complex and use a bed tax or use, you know, a local surcharge in order to fund incentives to be able to bring events into their community, reinvest, and ultimately become a profit center and a profit source for their communities. We have managed to keep those relationships strong with all of our partners. It's a lot of work. We have a tremendous base of elected officials. I'm doing this about 6.5 years, and you know, some of the names and faces change a little bit over time. Probably a little bit how we met in your time as a commissioner, and we've been we've had the great fortune of being able to, you know, certainly. I don't manage relationships. Like, I love Mike Tomlin. I'm an Eagles fan, so it pains me to talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers. But Mike Tomlin always talks about, you know, you can't do ordinary things and expect unique results. And for me, it's personal. For me, it's diving in, building relationships, really getting to know people, understanding their needs, understanding what we can provide as this small little agency for our community. And it's how I've built so many of those great relationships. I mean, back to the Solar Bears, you know, the work that we did, I didn't know who John Davis was. Next thing I know, you know, we're working with the African American Chamber of Commerce, and he was doing a great job there. Next thing you know, he's running Florida.
He's the Secretary of Lottery.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
So,
and those are the kinds. Those were like, you know, bonds that you build. That you know, listen, in business, I don't agree with everybody. Not everyone agrees with us, but at the same time, you know, we can be gentlemen or get into the room and manage our business in a certain way, so that at the end of the day, the relationships still hold, even if we have, you know, differing opinions.
Well, I want to just make sure that I take a pause to once again thank you on behalf of Greg and myself, because it was about the relationship. You know, you get a call at the last minute and say, "Hey, Jason, man, can you come on and do this show with us?" Because I think people need to know what the Orlando Sports Commission does. And one of the things, my buddy to my left, I don't know if Greg is all that great on his March Madness picks, but can you tell the audience about your engagement, your organization's engagement with March Madness?
We've had an incredible relationship with the NCAA. And in fact, every 4 years, the NCAA allows cities, communities, municipalities to partner up with their local college and bid on national championship events. So back in 2020, this latest cycle, we bid on 68 events from 2026 to from 2022 to 2026. And proud to say, Orlando, no other city was awarded more championship business than the city of Orlando. Wow. And with that came one of our favorite events, and we'll bring March Madness back to Orlando March 16th, March 18th. We're going to play the Thursday, Saturday games. So the round of 64 starts on Thursday. The round of 32 will continue on Saturday. We'll send 2 schools to the Sweet 16, and tickets are on sale. It's at the Amway Center. It's going to be a great week. Selection Sunday, of course, is that Sunday prior on March 12th, where we'll find out what schools are coming. Johnny Dawkins, Coach Dawkins, has done a great job with UCF. You know, so we're really pulling for UCF to have some home court advantage, and if they can continue on this great run, then hopefully we'll see UCF here. Florida's kind of getting going again. You know, we had Florida State We had Florida Gulf Coast back in 2017 when we hosted. So a lot of pageantry. It's really exciting to have, the alums in the stadium. The place is going crazy. And of course, they've got a little bit of a hometown edge, but it should be an exciting week of basketball here in Orlando.
Greg, when the last time your school was in any March Madness, man?
I mean, Florida State gets there. I mean, but the year that I remember is the year Sam Cassell, Charlie Ward was playing. I want to say it was 92, 93. We got to the Elite Eight. Christian Laettner hit a turnaround jumper in the middle of the paint on us and knocked us out. And so I've been gut wrenched ever since then.
That's a lot of years to carry that.
That's a lot of years to carry that. It sure is. But yeah, we've had our places.
Greg's father, and I'm gonna go ahead and give him a plug. He is our encyclopedia when it comes to sports. We could just go to him and he'll go back to Wilt Chamberlain and even beyond that.
He'll go beyond that. Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, he knows like virtually every college player or every pro player with a college team they went to, who their coach was, and all this other stuff. So he's amazing with that. But a lot of what we do is also, in addition to talking about what you're doing in the community, different things like that, we like to give folks an opportunity to get to know you. Who Jason Siegel is, and so just kind of being the observant person that I am, I see a piece of hardware on your hand there. What we're looking at?
So I have spent most of my career, if not all of it. I was a dishwasher and grew up working in restaurants when I was a kid in Philadelphia. But once I got to college, I did an internship for the Hartford Whalers, had their minor league team in the small town that I went to school. And I had an opportunity to go down to Wall Street, get into the financial district. And instead of taking all that money, I decided I'd go work in minor league hockey, take about a quarter of the salary, which back then wasn't very much. And that got me started in professional sports. So I worked in minor league hockey. I had the opportunity to work at the Whalers, then the New York Rangers, then the Dallas Stars, the Los Angeles Kings, and their affiliate. And then I spent the majority of my days in professional sports. The longest run I had, Mr. Steinbrenner had purchased the Devils and the Nets a few days within my tenure at the Meadowlands.
That's a name I hadn't heard in a while.
Yeah.
Hey, let the audience know who Steinberger is.
So Steinbrenner, of course, owned the Yankees, still do. The family still owns them. And they've got minor league in Tampa. So we see the Yankees, every spring training. And, we've got a great relationship with the Yankee family, but I think we have to break, right? So
no, go ahead. We'll get right up to 5 seconds. I'll show you how.
All right, you tell me. You shut me down. I can pick right up, believe me. But so I was at the Meadowlands with the Devils. We also managed the Nets. We had this great partnership with the Yankees, but I had the great fortune in 2000 we won a Stanley Cup. Nice. I was in management. We went back to the Stanley Cup in 2001 and lost. That was heartbreaking. But then we won again in 2003. So I've been part of 2 Stanley Cup championships.
Wow. Outstanding. Listen, though, we do have to take a break at this time, but we want the listening audience to come back and join us with this fantastic conversation with Mr. Jason Siegel. So do not stray too far away from that radio dial and come back and join us here on Monica May's Point of View, Star 94.5.
Sounded good.
Gun violence prevention, conflict resolution training, positive law enforcement interactions. These are a few program service delivery contacts that the community-based services CBS Accountability smartphone app captures. Good intentions are not enough. Results are what matters. Buenas intenciones no es suficiente. Tener resultados es lo importante. The CBS smartphone app provides the verifiable programmatic elements of the who, what, when, and where. The CBS Smartphone Accountability app captures community service providers, clients' positive and negative encounters with law enforcement as a means to monitor, value, and evaluate relationship development.
Law enforcement needs to get out in the community and out of our cars and build that relationship with the community.
CBS Smartphone Accountability app by CSG Tech Solutions. Don't delay. Subscribe today. No tarde más. Suscríbase hoy.
That's a neat story, though. Yeah.
They break, I fix. Mercedes-Benz, BMWs, Jaguars, and Porsche. Joe's Quality.
Now they're like this big. Your knuckles are spread.
Daybreak iFix. Mercedes-Benz, BMWs, Jaguars and Porsche. Joe's Quality Auto Repair. I specialize in European cars. Daybreak iFix at Joe's European Quality Auto Repair. Located at 1240 State Road 436 in Altamont Springs. Daybreak iFix. Call me, mention Let's Talk Nation and bring your certified dealership repair quote. And I beat by 30%. Remember, Daybreak iFix. Call me at Joe's European Quality Auto Repair at 407-409-6040. Again, 407-409-6040. After Daybreak iFix. Joe's European Quality Auto Repair.
Sorry, we're just taking a break. But listen, we hope that you all have enjoyed the conversation we've had. Again, we're talking to Jason Siegel, the president and CEO of the Greater Orlando Sports Commission. So just want to say thank you.
25 seconds.
Download the Dave app from the App Store right now. That's DAVE. Sign up for an extra cash account and get up to $500 instantly.
Man, I didn't know a thing about social media 5 years
It's the
ago.
thing of the future, man.
Now, look at that.
Mike's hot.
Welcome back to Star 94.5 with Monica May's point of view. Hey, I'm Rod Love, and I'm sitting next to the General Attorney, Greg Jackson. And man, we have a guest in the studio with us, Jason Siegel, who is the president, CEO of the Orlando Sports Commission. And Greg, just as you said earlier, this is not just about what you do, but we want the audience to get to know who you are. And Jason, man, you're doing a great job. But before we go there, Mr. Neese and Marvin, you know, I'm sitting back listening to the commercials. Greg, they got some folk that we are very, very familiar with. When you talk about Osborne and Francis, and we're talking about somebody who's phenomenal, Attorney Greg Francis. I mean, settlement, the largest settlement in the country.
Yeah, well, in the history from the federal government, $1.3 billion.
Yeah, so, you know, we talking about some superstars. And, you know, when I go to my Rolodex and I look underneath the G's, I got one sitting next to me and another brother who's a bad brother. But then as we go further, and I know y'all already ran your commercials, but Pastor Terrence Gray over at AME, St. Mark AME, bad brothers. And then getting people up 4 days early in the morning. Speak to, or at least say hello to high school association.
Yeah, Craig Damon just texted. So Craig's been a longtime servant of our state and done a great job with the Florida High School Athletic Association. Just shot a text that he's listening, and shout out to Craig. He just became the executive director. So now he operates every single championship in every sport high school in the state of Florida.
Down the road, Greg and I may need to get that contact because I'd like to know his thoughts on how NIL has affected high school sports now.
Yeah, and listen, you know, and thank him for, you know, listening to the show this morning. For anyone else that wants to not just listen but be a part of this morning's conversation with Jason Siegel, Brother Love, Greg Jackson, just feel free to call in 844-945-2945. Again, to call in to be a part of this fantastic conversation this morning at 7:38. Is that 7:38? No, 7:28. I'm still a little bit early. 844-945-2945. I don't know if y'all hear my alarm going off. This one I would typically get up in the morning.
That's your alarm, Greg? Hey, and you know, folk follow Star 94.5.
Greg will be here any minute.
He'll be here. And you know, folk are saying, you know, as soon as I let that out of my mouth about the NIL, folks say, what is NIL? Come on, Greg, go ahead and break it down for us.
So basically, NIL is image likeness of a individual of a person, and just recently, the NCAA allowed for players to be paid for their image and likeness to be used, name, image, and likeness to be used. And so there are a lot of individuals that are coming out of high school. Named, I want to say Deion Sanders' son is one. I want to say Master P. And Jason, I know that you're not a part of hip hop culture, but Master P, that's Percy Miller. Master P used to play tried out for a basketball team, but his son came out with an NIL deal worth $1 million, I want to say. And so, yeah, NIL and how it's affecting high school sports and sports in the future is going to be very interesting.
I mean, these kids can actually go to college based on NIL, and if they got good financial managers, these kids can retire with some of the deals. Out in Texas, got $1 million NIL deal to go. Was it Ohio State or something like that? So, and I tell you, we look forward to possibly talking to you guys sometime or another to find out.
Just texted and said, share my information.
Okay.
On your way.
Okay.
Listen, here's something very interesting. And Jason, you don't know this about me, but I am an amateur photographer. And I get out and I take headshots and things like that. And recently, I did some photo shoot of a young man by the name of Victor Wright, who is a Special Olympics. Now, I know that Orlando has had some type of, I don't know how big it was, but I know that Orlando's had some deals with Special Olympics. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, we have a wonderful relationship with our state agency, but this one steps further. We had the opportunity back in 2008, and big kudos to Mayor Demings and the Commissioner of Orange County, because back in the time, we didn't have a program that was nimble. We weren't able to use TDT, tourism development, to incentivize to come into our community. We had this wonderful opportunity. 2008, the Special Olympics USA Games. So they're Olympic, they're U.S.-based Olympics. There was a bid process that was taking place, and we had this great opportunity to go and bid on behalf of our community to bring what we thought would become one of the largest humanitarian efforts in our great city's history, in our community's history, for that matter. And we went, presented to Mayor Demings and commissioners, and at the time the tourism board, and they approved funding to get us started to allow us to bid for what would become the 2022 Special Olympics USA Games. We had over 4,000 Olympians. We had every state in the Union, Caribbean, and it was spectacular. It was a partnership with Disney. It was the opening ceremonies at Exploria Stadium. Joe Zellick was the executive director and CEO who ran the event. And when you talk about inclusivity, when you talk about the opportunity to be seen, there's a young man in our team, Chris Nickett, who is the first special needs. He's got a wonderful story, and he's completed Ironman and marathon. And Chris was our torchbearer, but an opportunity for those young men, not just young men and women, 8 to 88, those competing athletes, seen and recognized and appreciated. And we were most of the time down at ESPN Wild World of Sports. Farron Kelly and the team down there do such a wonderful job. And it was spectacular. I mean, it was the largest by far, $65 million piece of business. But forget about the business of it all.
Yeah.
Truly one of the largest humanitarian efforts in our state's history. Great support from the state, great support from our region. And for that many individuals to have that opportunity to shine as one, as they say, here on our community's soil. Was wonderful.
Jason, man, you're taking an opportunity to peel back that onion so that organizations and individuals are better understanding what your organization does. And I'm gonna go ahead and give a plug to a good friend of Greg and mine, Mayor Brian Nelson. If he hasn't already, we've been having a discussion regarding speaking with you and your organization about engagement, whether it's TDT or not. Ron Kane has one of the best facilities for softball games that people come from all over the country to use that field. So you'll be hearing that conversation. The other thing is Denise. Get behind that mic, because Greg, when you talked about this young man that you, I didn't know whether or not I saw a fan, a groupie, or a paparazzi back there jumping up and down. So yeah, I'm putting you on the spot, Miss Denise. What you know about that individual?
Oh, I'm Team Victor all day, baby.
All right.
Yes, indeed. Shout out to the Wright family.
Absolutely.
I had the pleasure of sharing with his father, Henry Wright, that swimming would actually be a good sport for him. And I'm so happy to see Victor grow the way he did in the sport. And yes.
Okay.
So now, did you see the photos from the photos you did?
Oh yes, I sure did.
Okay.
Hey, Greg, she saw something because, hey, Marvin, you know, we talking about that. I'm trying to, pay attention to our guests, and then, our engineer started jumping up and down when he mentioned. I'm like, what's going on here? But I digress for a moment. But
just real quick, though, Brother Love, we have to remind folks that we're able to sit here and have this great conversation with Mr. Siegel because we are guest star Miss Monica May on this point of view. This is Monica May's point of view. We want to thank Mr. Elroy Smith for allowing us to sit here.
Yeah, Greg, where do we take that gift basket from Mr. Smith? Because, man, we just have too much fun, but we got to let them know we get our gift baskets from the dollar store.
That's right. Listen, we may talk big, but we ain't big.
But he's helping us, so I don't know, man. We might step it up a little bit more.
Absolutely. But listen, thank you again to Marvin, to Denise, to Anna for supporting us here today. And this is a great conversation, man. Let's keep going.
So in keeping it going, one of the things, man, I got to just throw out to you, man. Big 12 Conference Championship events, man. Come on, talk to us, Jason.
This is so exciting. I quietly, because the deal hadn't quite been done. Terry Mahajer, of course, took over for Danny White as the athletic director here at UCF. And Terry and I went out to Scottsdale and started, blending in. And actually, funny story, I sat down for lunch and Bill Self, the famous basketball coach from Kansas, sits with me. And we're talking, and he's like, "What are you here to do?" And I sort of trying not to answer and be respectful. But we went out there together to start to talk to the individual at the Big 12 who runs their championships, because of course UCF, along with Houston and BYU and Cincinnati, are going to be moving into the Big 12. It's a big deal, big influx of into the UCF athletic department, and we wanted to make sure that as soon as they switched over conferences, they were in the American for many years. We actually hosted American Conference basketball championships here for a couple of years. That they knew that Orlando needed to be on their radar when they started looking for championships, championship hosts. So they've done basketball in Kansas City for many years. They've done football in Dallas. We wanted to make sure if there was an opportunity, in fact, their new commissioner, Brett Yormark, is a friend of mine back to my Meadowlands days. And if there was an opportunity for Orlando to bid on business, regardless of what sport, soccer, golf, tennis, we've got it all here. USTA, ESPN, Live World of Sports, Arnold Palmer, course, Amway Center, Camping World, Exploria Stadium. We represent over 45 venues in this community. We wanted to make sure they were well educated. They were. It was a quiet conversation. We ducked away to talk to them. This year, I go back to Scottsdale with Terry Mahajer. Not going to be so quiet.
Not going to be so quiet.
We're going to be banging it drum pretty loud for Orlando, because the time has come for us to start to do business.
But don't push those questions that I've seen Greg play golf on, man, because he tears people golf up, man.
I mean, no doubt. I'm on now.
He rips it up, but I can play just a little bit. But hey, let me let everybody know you're listening to Star 94.5. This is definitely, without a doubt, Monica May's point of view, and we have our special guest in the studio with us, and that is the President CEO, Jason Siegel with Orlando Sports Commission. Hey, look, if you have a question, if you want to compliment, if you just want to comment, please dial in 844-945-2945.
Now, Jason, a lot of your conversation, and I get this feel from you, it's not just about the business of sports, it's about the community aspect of sports. Talk to us about the Youth Sports Task Force.
Yeah, it's near and dear to our heart. There's a group called the Aspen Institute out of the Carolinas that is a watchdog group to some degree. They are child advocates. And for many, many, many years, they've been tracking participation in our communities relative to opportunity and availability for youth. And as we were digging into the numbers and seeing what they were talking about, we are the great recipients and beneficiaries of this travel sport business. 65% of the business that we drive into this community, I mean, you name it, big basketball tournaments, big volleyball tournaments, and we're driving in some cases. I mean, the AAU volleyball, Mark Tester and the team down at the convention center do such an incredible job hosting. I mean, we had 4,700 volleyball teams, $220 million worth of business, 200,000 hotel rooms were filled. Those are elite athletes, and by the way, they're athletes with access, availability, the funds, the means to do that, and travel. So we're reaping those rewards, but are we filling the bucket back up? Mm-hmm. Are we investing? Are we looking around? Are we paying attention? Are we tone deaf to the idea that in our own community, what's happening in our community? Are there marginalized, underserved communities that are not getting the resources, not getting the funding, not getting the attention? And what we decided to do, interestingly enough, prior to the pandemic, was bring the heads of all of these associated. A lot of them are based here. AAU's based here, USSSA, Perfect Game, DS Sports. I mean, there's so many of these groups are based right here. we wanted to bring them together. So we had about 40 to 45 individuals jump on a Zoom call to say, what's happening in our own community? Are kids getting opportunity? Are they getting access? Are they getting available? Do they have the means? Are registration fees too high? What about, travel? If they can't get to a field, and there has to be a field, available. If they don't have transportation provided, what happens after they leave school? And then the pandemic comes and the kids aren't going to school.
Yeah.
So what's happening? Obesity, mental health, just their ability to develop those core strengths.
I like this
kids,
thinking. You see where this is going.
As through sport, and they're not in class, building those bonds and those relationships. And I thought what was really interesting was a lot of folks in our community they're doing the right things. And the folks at Orange County in our communities, and we got to know these people a lot better to say, hey, what's happening? What are we doing? Do we need to protect those programs? Do I need to scream from the hilltop to say, hey, let's make sure that we're, renewing contracts. Let's make sure that the funding continues. Let's make sure that we continue to sustain this great growth that we have in our communities by building more fields and pitches and courts so that we have an opportunity, not just for the elite all-star in 7th grade who got a scholarship and somebody's going to give him the opportunity to travel 10 miles away or 15 miles away because we're practicing 3 days a week. We're playing on road trips. We're going to tournaments. There's 4 uniforms. We've got a pitching coach, a shooting coach, a goaltender coach. We've got all these different aspects that are expensive, and we're marginalizing our youth.
But Jason, I like what you guys are doing, but here's the other side of it that I think the audience really needs to pay attention to, and that is the residual economic impact of what you do. And I don't know if you were in the studio when we got a call in from Lula Mae's restaurant, but it's businesses like that that get residual economic impact when events like that are taking place in their community. And just like, somebody passing through, going to the gas station, going to the store to buy some consumer goods and things like that. But you know what? I'm going to do this throughout the show because what you guys are doing, man, is phenomenal. But we noticed you got some amazing partners at the table. And I just want to go ahead and recognize some of those partners as we go through. But also, and this is a plug for you and a plug for the station, that those same partners can engage Star 94.5, man, because this is where it all happens in Addition Financial Arena. You got Arnold Palmer Invitation, Central Florida Crusaders, Clancy Sports Property, DS Sports. Where have I seen that at?
Yeah, Mr. Davidson owns and operates that. He was a professional. He was a catcher, Major League Baseball, and they are heavy into the digital space relative to that sport. So they're very invested in youth baseball. They own and operate big tournaments. He's a terrific guy. Rob Seitz and his team there do a wonderful job. But again, there's a youth entity that has been very thoughtful about how they provide access to a lot of kids who want to play that sport.
Well, I've learned once you start, don't.
Here's the other thing too, something that Jason said too, when he's talking about COVID-19 hit and kids were affected that way. One of the things that keyed us up to knowing that we were getting back to normal is when our kids were able to get back and participate, not just in school, but in sports.
That's right.
And so that's important that this task force is in place because, kids had lost a lot of the socialization that
social skills
and things like that. So this is
very much,
this is very important from the standpoint of helping our kids to get back to some level of normalcy when all of that was ripped away from them, with COVID-19.
About relationships. And, Greg, we talk about when you start, don't stop and leave anybody out.
Yeah.
And I'll continue this, before we finish the show. But ESPN, Florida Citrus Sports. Hey, you got Steve Hogan.
Yeah.
And man, I got to just stop right here.
Yeah.
Everybody's familiar with the Florida Classic, Florida Blue. Speak to that.
Yeah. Steve and his team for probably the oldest agency in our community, going back 75 plus years, and they do an incredible job with our bowl games. Of course, keeping and renewing the Florida Classic and keeping them from moving out of our community, because that's such an incredibly powerful opportunity for our community to shine. And he's got a great team. They do great things at Camping World Stadium. He's a good friend. And
in a relationship with Florida Blue, Tony Jenkins over there.
No, Tony's the best. I mean, Tony. In fact, Tony's one of our key partners on March Madness. Tony's always investing in our community, and
he's a good guy.
He is. He is a good guy. He's a servant leader.
Does he know how to pick those doggone March Madness, man?
We'll find out. We're gonna find out.
Hey, Tony Jenkins, man. We don't know if you are a good pick of those March Madness, but we will find out.
Yeah. Oh yeah. For sure.
Hey, we're going to kind of ease into a smooth break right here because I don't want you to go too far with that, so that we can come right back and just jump back on it.
Everybody good on water? Anybody need more water?
You need good on water?
Break?
Good.
I'm good.
Greg, I stopped off here. You got this in your... Okay. Because I started, I want to make sure we both kind of...
You gonna go through all of these?
Hey, man, we got the man here. You just never know. So, and, it's pause, go, because we got plenty of time. And if you're familiar with any of the names...
You can't stop a lot of these numbers.
Huh?
So we go through all, you can't stop that.
Yeah. And when I see Steve Hogan, I'm familiar with him. If you know anybody, and then Jason knows all these people. So we're gonna plug your phone.
All good.
LPGA.
I got a lot of friends. Big group. We have 100 board members now.
How do you manage it? Man, just when I chaired the task force, which was 38.
Yeah,
it was interesting.
Yeah,
it was interesting. It was great people, man. I tell you, that stepped to the table to.
I have 5 executive committees.
That
I spend most of my time with, and I have an executive board who can vote, and then I have an advisory board. So, so often you bid on a piece of business, and there's a lacrosse guy in the group, or there's a bowling guy in the group, or there's a woman who's familiar with swimming.
Okay.
But I think the other thing for us was when we were recruiting board members, we put a big premium on diversity of individual, but also diversity of industry. It just couldn't be sports.
Gotcha.
It had to be education, technology, sustainability, transportation. I had to surround myself with people, tourism, of course, and hoteliers.
So you're in the mix.
We had to be well rounded.
Yeah. Wait, I'm sorry. Wait, I see the time. We're able to go through all. Yeah, I see the time.
The show that's coming out.
Okay. You got it. Woo, man, time flies when you're having fun.
I know.
Go.
Boy.
It's good to take a break about 3 minutes early. I think it gives us more time.
Yeah. Man, I tell you. Denise and Marvin pushing us like they're pushing us. We got to talk to Era, man. Isn't it some labor law? Or do they just apply to kids?
You know what you signed up for.
And they didn't push us this hard last time, Jason. You should have saw Representative Antone in here.
I was listening.
Hey, they were pushing so hard, he was breaking out into a sweat.
He's got a tough job. Oh my God.
Man.
Meanwhile, I knew you'd be all suited up. And I'm like, man, I gotta go to the rink right after this. What am I gonna wear? Greg, I looked in, and Greg was a little more casual.
I hooked you up,
so I was like, all right, I'm gonna try to thread the needle and come in between a little bit.
See, Greg, on our Monday show, he's always booted and suited. So, every Monday for me, I don't have to wear a suit, but I do it because he presses me.
Yeah.
But I got y'all today.
Yeah, you got
Oh yeah.
No,
you
get the best
gold medal. You're in first place. You are firmly. They put the gold medal in the middle, by the way.
That's
right.
So that's where bronze and silver are always flanking the guy in the middle.
Hey man, but boy, I tell you, y'all are doing some fantastic things over there, man.
We love what we do.
Man,
we love what we do.
Woo.
And the people we work with.
When last time you talked to Justin?
Every day.
Okay.
Yeah. We've got like a little group. There's him, Jesse Martinez from Alphon.
That's one I met when we did the dinner. Yeah, okay.
John McGavin from the Ritz. So we kind of bullshit with each other.
Okay.
Chop it up, throw it around. There's always something going on. Somebody's getting picked on usually.
I can imagine, man. I can imagine. But a good time. But it's about those relationships.
Yep. Yeah, those are my 4 J's. So,
Man.
now it's like suit competition lately. Like who's
suited and booted.
I can't wear hats like Justin. I can't do that. I can't pull that off.
You know what? I need to put some pressure on him because I want one of those hats. And if he hears it on the air, maybe I'll get one, Greg.
Yeah, you might. Just might.
Because him and his wife be styling and profiling.
I know. You need.
Hello, this is Rod Love. To all of our seniors, our champions, trailblazers, and innovators, happy Valentine's Day. I would like to invite seniors to our after.
Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Faith-based organizations have historically provided critical social services in society that have filled the gap in impoverished communities where government and traditional not-for-profit organizations have failed to reach. Faith leaders, we need your help. CSG has launched a simple, revolutionary technology that empowers faith organizations that serves the least of these by leveraging technology, cooperation, and validation. Community Resource Connector by CSG Tech Solutions leverages the full power of community-based services, exclusively delivered by faith-based organizations, accessible by any smart device. Services that range from food insecurities, education, mentoring, mental health, elderly services, job training, and much more. The Community Resource Connector app by CSG provides users a detailed list of services based on a simple keyword search on any Android, Apple, or smart device. Service referrals by faith organizations are generated based on type of service, proximity to where a person lives, cost, and faith organizations' contact information. We have not because we ask not. Community Resource Connector by CSG serves as an innovative strategy for maximizing the utilization of faith organizations, community resources, and services. Contact CSG Tech Solutions today. Community Resource Connector by CSG.
Monica made a point of view. Hey, we've been going at 30,000. What is it, Greg? Come on, man.
Wait, you talking about speed?
No, I'm talking about height.
Oh, 35,000 miles, 35,000 feet.
Yeah, and eventually we're going to have to bring this plane in for landing. But man, we got to have a serious conversation, man, with Mr. Elroy Smith because the niece and the way Marvin knows where y'all doggone workforce policy rules around here? Because hey, I'm tired already. Hey, next step, man. As a matter of fact, hey man, I'm tired. As a matter of fact, Miss Lula May, y'all, I will be landing over at Lula May's restaurant about 8:30. So, hey, have my scrambled eggs and not that pork sauce, that beef sausage, and some grits with cheese.
So listen, we Jason and I, we just took a vote, and I think that we have all agreed that Brother Love gets the gold medal for best dressed this morning.
Yes.
Hey,
suited up.
I will take that.
Got the handkerchief and everything.
Hey, I will take that, and I thank you. I thank you. But you know what, Brother Jason, man, we really thank you for coming in and having this conversation with us. I mean, you're diversifying our knowledge base about what's going on out there.
Yeah, it's great to be with you first and foremost. I'm proud of our friendship and love that. And Greg, we'll get to know each other over time, but appreciate the opportunity.
Are you gonna be able to help me get one of those nice fedoras from Justin Williams over there at the Grand Boat?
I have a small brotherhood of sort of we call it the 4 J's. So it's Justin and Jesse Martinez and John McGavin. And on occasion, Sarah, my wife, and the wives will get together. You've been with us.
Hey, Greg, let me tell you, when these guys invite me out, you're accustomed to going and eating, but man, these guys eat.
Really?
Yeah, you got to get Greg in there.
Yeah, but the conversation will get heavy, so you have to have lots of energy. So
yeah.
We'll get after each other a little bit, and and we have a good time. But Justin, nobody's out dressing Justin in this time.
No.
So listen, I have a question. Because we've been sitting here, we've been talking sports and everything like that, and it takes me back to my days of youth. Yeah. And the first bet that I ever won was on a boxing match, and it was Muhammad Ali, and he was fighting Leon Spinks, and there was a second fight between Muhammad Ali and Leon Spinks, and Muhammad Ali was in line to win the heavyweight championship for the third time, first time it had ever been done. And I put my $1 bill on Muhammad Ali, and that night Muhammad Ali prevailed, and I won my first dollar. Question: how can we get boxing into Orlando, or more boxing into it? Because I think Miguel Cotto was the last one to do it here in Orlando.
Yeah, I have warm feeling. I have great feelings when I think about the champ, because I actually spent a full day with him.
Really? Wow.
In Phoenix, Arizona, the Boys and Girls Club. I was on the board when I was young. It was '96, and the champ came into town, and he did a fundraiser. A friend of mine helped me get him involved, Rick Miller and the team out there at the Boys and Girls Clubs.
That was '96. Was the same year he did the Olympics when he lit the torch. Yeah.
And the whole premise of him coming was he wanted to go to a center where no cameras, no photography, just him and the kids, and spend a day. But I what a wonderful human being. I mean, it absolutely goes without saying. Of course, one of the greatest of all time. Yeah. But boxing's a tough one. It really is. There's sanctioning issues. There's challenges, of course, with the sport, and it's sort of, not sort of, it's taken a back seat to the mixed martial arts and UFC, and we hosted UFC a little bit ago at Amway. I think that combat sports are alive and well. There are a lot of them doing business in our community, but it's going to be interesting to see how things evolve over the next 10 years. There's so many different variations of all of that. Some of it's made for television, some of it's celebrity, right? We're seeing, some of the, these, our YouTube and social media people getting into the sport and doing some of that. So that's elevated the profile, but it's changed. It's not my Muhammad Ali, Mike Tyson days that I grew up with. It's definitely
your Hearns Hagler days and things like that. It's not that at all.
Well, I got to give a quick plug in, and we're winding down. When I bring the plane in for Orlando, I give it a nosedive to get it down. But I will say this: when the opportunity presents itself, whether it's boxing, MMA, or whatever, and my buddy sitting to my left here, I'm waiting to hear him announce something, because this is the best. Whether it's a fight, boxing, MMA, this guy can do some announcing. So, hey, Jason can take care of that. But
WWE, listen, we got lots of friends.
But once again, my friend, we thank you for coming in this morning, early this morning, and don't get hurt with this doggone hockey deal that you're going to. And I'm gonna pass the baton to my friend Greg. What show is coming up right after us, man?
Well, I mean, coming up next, we have none other than Miss Reba Tim's Inspiration Sunday. So we want you all to.
Somebody stole your notes.
But I got it by memory because it's Miss Reba. It's Pastor Reba. So Pastor Reba's Sunday Inspiration. We want you all to tune in. Get that. Get your feel. Get your feel.
You see how he does that, Jason?
You got to get your Holy Ghost feel in this morning with Pastor Reba. So
we over here with Deacon Gregory Jackson. He almost about to preach.
Voice.
Yes. Yeah. But man, I tell you, once again, we want to thank Miss Monica May for Monica May's viewpoint. And we want to make sure that we thank Mr. Elroy Smith. We just need to see y'all labor policies, because Denise and Marvin, I mean, hey, look at what they did to Representative Bruce Anton. He's about to hit sweat.
But listen, and this, like we said once before, man, this is the Justice League. They're here at STAR9.45. Miss Monica May, thank you once again on behalf of Brother Love and myself. Brother Elroy, we appreciate you. Miss Denise, Brother Marvin, Miss Anna, Brother Jason, we appreciate you for being in this morning. Brother Love, what you supposed to tell them?
Hey, y'all don't have to get out of here.
No, you ain't got to go home.
Man, come on. This early Sunday morning, man.
Let's try this again. Rewind.
All right. Hey, Jason, I say this respectfully to you. Y'all don't have to go home.
But you got to get out of here.
All right. Now, hey, thank y'all. Thank you. We appreciate Star 94.5. Miss Monica May.